Hey, how are you? Dan McDonald here. It's always an honor and a privilege to take this time to share. So I hope you have a few minutes to connect. I don't really have anything in particular that I want to share except for the Transitioning to Raw DVD here. I've got just a couple more days left on that sale. So I wanted to make sure that you were aware of that in case you're one of those people that has, I get so many questions. And transitioning to raw answers a lot of those questions. That's one of the reasons why I make DVDs and why they're so effective, is because there are so many questions. And so what I do is consolidate my time by making these DVDs. So there's 2-hour educational disc here on transitioning to raw. And then there are 4 hours of recipes. And you also get the transitioning to raw recipe book here, grocery shopping list with 100 of my favorite raw foods that I think are pretty much staples. So it's just good to know what I like to eat, what I think is real important, mostly fruits and vegetables, but a few condiments and things like that. Then you've got the juices to help you transition. You've got the smoothies to help you transition, the transitional soups. You've got the transitional salads, the transitional entrees, and then some transitional desserts with some bonus recipes like crackers, fresh rolls, and some vegan cheese and things like that. So transitioning to raw there'll be a link down below. It's $47 right now, so it's a really good deal if you're interested in investing in your health. And if you stick around for a minute, I'll tell you how I transitioned to raw over the last 13 years. It's about 13 and a half years now. It did take me 12 years to get to be 100% raw. So so if you want to learn how to implement and bring in more raw living foods into your experience, then I'm definitely going to be able to help you do that, because the day I found out about raw foods was the day that I committed to it. Now, it did take me 12 years to get to be 100% raw, to figure out what it takes to be able to do that. And we'll go into that here in a minute. But before I do, I wanted to make sure you knew that I throw in low-fat, raw vegan recipes for energy and weight loss in the package, because these are some really great recipes here, salads and smoothies and soups and juices also, that are going to help you transition into more raw foods, because people can get pretty darn healthy on 80%. I mean, you can be healthy with no raw foods, but because there's other principles to health, and that's why I don't just emphasize on the food. It just so happens that I am really, really stoked about the raw foods. And then, I've got a few things about the raw foods that I love, and that is the juices and the gourmet and the detoxification aspects. So kind of the whole myriad, really. I guess I am the raw food guy. So if you're interested in getting my 13 years of experience, then you'll want to click on the link down below. Check out another trailer if you want to find out more information about what's in this DVD. It is cram-packed full of information and inspiration that's going to help you, because raw food is a very practical way to begin the process of transforming your life, because that's what it's about. If you've been here for any length of time and seen any of these videos, you've seen the growth that I've gone through. And I just jumped another notch today, because there are challenges in this life, because your awareness expands so much when you eat raw foods, particularly when you're on juice for 5 days now, just chilling on the juice, because you get so clean that you absorb everything, and then all you really need is some minerals, a little bit of sugar, and some structured water, and your body is so efficient and clean that you really more so run on oxygen, electricity, and love. Now, this is not for the scientific, linear, left-brain people. Although you may be able to understand the essence of that, it's for the people who understand that we're actually so much more than like the calorie model or something like that. We are like pure energy at the core. We come out of this great source of energy, and then it steps down into a human being. So the raw foods, what that does is it allows you to eat lighter, so that more pure essence can come through, and you can get that raw food glow. There are other areas of transformation, like you transform, you focus on the navel, you focus on the GI tract, and that's where you begin to understand the health of the physical body and how all that works. but you also need to focus on learning how to walk through the fire of purification of the heart through the fears, because fear shuts the system down by creating stress, and then it doesn't matter how good your diet is, your system shuts down. So love is the answer when it comes to health, and raw foods being such an alignment with the laws of nature. You know, there's one little thing that convinced me way back a long time ago, and that was that there's no other organism on this planet, and more than likely has never been, that cooks its food. Isn't that interesting that even trees eat raw food? The tree does not cook the microorganisms that break down the minerals from the soil and the leaves and the compost so that the microbes break that down, then the tree can absorb it and reabsorbs the minerals back into the leaves and back into the fruit of the tree. So that is pretty convincing. It's like raw foods is a law, a primordial law of life. And let me tell you, it's, you know, I don't know where you're at, or I'm not sitting inside your experience, but I know that my own personal experience has continued to get better and better. And there are unlimited levels to this thing. You know, I mean, you got to stay balanced, and you got to, handle your responsibilities. But whenever I get a chance, I go out into the desert, even if it's just for 24 hours to fast, and I stay on the juices and I keep it clean, because I know that there's always more self-discipline. But it's a gentle discipline. It's more like, it's not really discipline. It's like, do not do what you will regret. You know what I mean? Do what you will not regret. See? So do what fills you up with joy, do what is good for you, and you will be filled with joy. But if you continue to do those things that you regret, out of the unconscious habituation towards those habits. So that's why transitioning to raw it's a process for sure, because you went from macaroni and cheese, hamburger helper, remember those bricks of plastic government cheese? I mean, how the heck did we even survive eating one bite of that stuff? It's like wax. But that's what happens. It gets so embedded deeply within your cells, that it can take a while for that mucus and slime to get washed out of there, and to transition from those unconscious habits of emotional comfort that comes from, like macaroni and cheese and hot dogs, or donuts, or all those other things that act more as sedatives or stimulants in the body as opposed to the nourishment. So I focus a lot on the nourishing foods, like the fruits, the vegetables, the herbs, the nuts, the seeds, the seaweeds, and the healthy sources of fats like coconuts, avocado, hemp seeds, etc. So that there's a nice balance there. And that's what you get inside the Transitioning to Raw DVD, is a nice balance. Because I'm telling you, man, I see a lot of imbalance out there, and they will tell you up and down, you are crazy, you should not eat that way, it's all wrong, you shouldn't have more than one avocado per week, or it'll kill you. And it's just, but the thing is you're actually balanced. You eat maybe an avocado or two every day, and you're balanced. And there's a lot of imbalance, and you don't want to get imbalanced on the raw food diet. You know what I mean? And I know what that's like. I have a lot of personal experience, because I was so intent on thinking of a certain way, just like when I was on just fruit. There is a beauty to being on just fruit for a week or two or three or even a few months. But eventually you can get out of balance, with your minerals. And so that's another thing I bring into your awareness here on the Transitioning to Raw DVD, is the importance of minerals, the importance of the essential fats. It doesn't take a lot. Now, you could get the essential fats through your fruits if you ate the fruit with seeds. But the problem is there's not a lot of fruits with seeds. There's a lot of hybridized fruits, so you're getting a lot of sugar, but you're not, and the soil is not filled with a lot of minerals, and you're not getting those seeds which have the essential fatty acids and the protein, which would bring in a lot of balance. You see, so you get these ideas and you understand it, but then you think to yourself, yeah, there's seedless watermelons, seedless oranges, seedless bananas, seedless everything, And pretty soon you realize you're not getting those essential fats, so you need to bring them in from somewhere else to keep yourself balanced. Coconut, hemp, and avocado are some of the best, and those are definitely inside the recipes here on the transitioning to raw. But most of my diet is actually fruit and leafy green herbs. So those are my two predominant sources of food. I want to encourage you to think that way. If you're trying to lose weight, or you're trying to improve your health, or your spiritual clarity, because those are high water, high vibrational, easily digestible foods. You know, you eat a few oranges, they digest so easy. They feed your sugar to your brain, and then you can think throughout the day, because your brain actually burns up more fuel than most other parts of your body. It's a real burner, especially if you have a mind like mine, which is quite active, you know, and everyone has a different way of being, but the brain burns up a lot of fuel, mostly sugar, but it can burn fat as well. So the sugar is more of a quick acting, easily absorbable, and the fruit is like kindling, right? And the fat is more like the logs on the fire. You don't really want to burn protein for fuel, though. A lot of people do that with the Atkins diet, the heart Atkins, and that type of thing. You don't want to burn up, because protein is very inefficient, because it leaves a lot of residue and it can be very acid forming. So the fruits and the herbs are the most alkaline forming. So you want to predominantly use those. Then you bring in the essential fats, which, you know, can be acid forming, but since they are so satiating, they can also produce energy within the system. And then once that energy is in there, then you go outside and you breathe the fresh air, and you actually, that's why if you do eat fats, you want to make sure you're getting plenty of exercise as well. You want to be always burning up all the food that you're eating cleanly, so that the metabolic debris doesn't build up. This transitioning to raw is a balanced program. I have cleansing, I have detoxification mastery, I have the low-fat raw vegan recipes for energy and weight loss type of thing. Transitioning to raw is a slow and steady path, because what happens is you might come up and say, Dan, what's the best? And I say, well, fruits and vegetables, of course. Lose a pound a day program is, you know, fruits and vegetables. But later on, as I worked with people a little bit more and got some feedback from some of my friends, I realized that, you know, if you're overweight, you can't just go from like burgers and fries and Sizzler and 3 baked potatoes with butter, sour cream, cheese, and onions and bacon bits over to like apples and think that you're going to get satiated. You can do it if you're like a super champion and you're very disciplined, but you're working with parasites, you're working with emotional eating, and so really you need to design these types of recipes here that are more satiating. That's why I love the gourmet. Everyone I know eats the gourmet. I eat the gourmet very rarely. You know, I think the last time I went to Olak a couple weeks ago, and that was enough for me for a while. You know, now I just have like low-fat salads or really clean, simple foods. Like last night my salad was romaine, tomatoes, and a little bit of corn, and some lime juice, and a little bit of purple onion, and I just ate this huge bowl. It's just real clean, simple foods is what I like. But that's to the level I'm at, because I keep my blood clear. I'm doing spiritual work as much as possible between my schedule. So there's a lot of benefits to the raw foods. And, you know, you want to slowly and steadily work your way there. When you are transitioning to raw from, like, say, overweight, then you are dealing with the situation where you want to be satiated. Otherwise, if you're not satiated and you don't have, like, the lasagna, or you don't have the hearty wraps that fill you up, you're going to revert back to your old eating habits. But if you have, that's the thing people have said a million times, man, if I lived here with you, or you lived at my house, I would easily be able to go raw. And that's true for a lot of people, you know. But you need to become empowered, and you need to learn how to make these recipes. Most of them take less than 10 minutes. You know, really, that's my style. It's very simple. I don't do like a lot of dehydrating. There are a couple of dehydrated recipes in there. The crackers are one of the bonus recipes, because you got to have the basic cracker recipe You may want those. You put a little avocado, a little tomato, a little onion, a little cilantro, maybe a jalapeno, squeeze some lime over the top. And that's just a really great little sandwich. And if you got the crackers, it might take you 20 minutes to make the crackers. Throw them in the dehydrator. 12 or 18 hours later, depending on your dehydrator, they're done. You got these nice little crackers made out of vegetables and almonds. You know, and it's really nice. So anyways, I was just wanted to check in with you real quick, talk the raw talk for a minute. That was going to be my last promotion for the transition to raw DVD. Thank you everyone who participated in that. I sure appreciate you very much. I just want to make sure that everybody's getting their questions answered. I get millions of questions and the answers are on the DVDs. And one thing that I do is I continually educate myself and I continually encourage everyone, educate and implement. Educate and implement and find the inspiration. If you're sick, you're inspired, ain't you, to do something about it. You know, if you're having challenges in your life in one way or another, let that be inspiration to learn and grow and change. Don't run away from the pain, run into it. Run into the challenge, face your emotions, face yourself, and get in there and change your life. Change the way you're doing things so that you can come out on the other side because, you know, growth is hard, but what's worse than that is staying stagnant. Staying the same 20 years later, you're still banging your head against the wall with the same problem. This is your 8th relationship and you're still banging your head against the wall. Get a relationship book, go get some counseling, find out the unconscious. Same thing with the food thing. You're still going to McDonald's every day, even though you feel terrible every time you do it. You're still doing things you regret. Why? Go get some help. Find out the underlying unconscious drives that are making you make these decisions and bring them up. Let them come up. Let that pain ooze out of you by the external circumstances that bring up, just you're expanding your awareness by being more self-honest, and you're really wanting to break free from the shackles. I know what it's like. It's always one more level. There's always the next thing. And you just get used to the fluctuations between pleasure and pain. And you keep on developing as much emotional poise as you can. And you keep on clarifying your goals. And you keep on, you know, increasing your health, increasing your emotional poise by getting some help and diffusing out all that pain that's buried inside your heart, all that confusion and pain and anger that's buried on your heart. And it's keeping you from expressing and it's keeping you from loving. And I know that what this is like. And, you know, I just need to say something about that. Just be brave. Be okay with the discomfort that is required for prolonged periods of pain. And they don't stop sometimes. But you have committed to being the best you can be. And the higher that your intention is, the more powerful the acceleration is. If someone doesn't have any goals, if someone doesn't have a vision for their life, if someone's broke and wants to stay broke, then there's no point. They're not going to grow. But if someone's broke and they want to be abundant, you got a little bit of a gap there and a lot of room to grow, you know? If you're having challenges with your diet and you're stuck on this wheel of like, dude, I eat good for a couple days and then I eat a whole box of cookies, or I go to get a box of those donuts with the Krispy Kremes and I drink 2 cups of coffee and eat 6 donuts and I just sit there in a coma. You know, you got to find out why that is. Now, you know you want to lose weight and you know you want to feel better and tone up, but it ain't going to happen if you keep doing that Krispy Kreme thing every time that you and your husband aren't getting along. You see what I'm saying? So you got to find a way to grow. So if you have high ideals and you're going through these periods of growth, you're right where you want to be. You don't want to change it. You want to be continually purified, continually refined. And pain is the greatest catalyst for you to get you off your duff and buy a new DVD or buy an audio book or buy an audio program or, to go get some counseling, or go get the tea leaf reading, or find somebody somewhere to help you. Commit to opening your heart up to other healers. Go find a friend. Just say, hey, can I talk to you for a little while? I got so much crap. I just need to hear myself talk. Write it out on paper. Write out your goals. Write out your pain. Write out your frustration. Write out the question. Write out the question, why do I keep going back to Krispy Kreme donuts and drinking that coffee when I know I don't want to do that? Because I'm 49 pounds overweight or 50 pounds overweight and I need to lose that weight, and I'm trying to do the raw food thing. DTM inspires me, but I keep ending up back at the donuts. Why do I end up at the donuts? You put that on your little nightstand, you put that on your shrine at home, you hang it on your wall, and you release that question to the universe. And then you do go quiet, you forget about it. And you know what? In fact, the quieter you get, you go out, I go out to the desert and I get quiet, maybe 2 or 3 hours out there. I get quiet, all the buzz and the noise of working and thinking and people. And I can ask any question, and I just be receptive. Be receptive to the answers coming to you from the highest place, from the most knowledgeable, from the field of unlimited knowledge. It knows what you need. I always pray and I say, man, take this from me. And then I hear it. I hear the voice of God, if you will, or my highest self, and it just says, no, this is exactly what you need to develop patience. It wants to develop those qualities within you. It wants you to learn how to listen and be patient. It wants you to learn how to love. It wants you to learn how to develop compassion for other human beings. And so it's going to refine you. If you have any goals at all, even if it's like, I want to go from making $500 a week to $600 a week, there's going to be some growth there. But if you say, I want to go from making $500 a week to $5,000 a week, then you're going to have more growth, and you're going to have to face more of your crap to get to your goals. So set high goals. I set the most high goal. I can't even mention it on video because it would sound like I was like some kind of weirdo from planet Zorkon or something. But it's the most high intention. So why do you think you see me all these years? This dude does not stop growing, and I ain't even gotten started yet. See what I mean? Because the goal is so high. Purify me, perfect me, because I know that the perfection is in there. So I'm getting rid of all the little ego stuff so that the big light can shine. Because if I had one goal, it would be to be of service to my brothers and sisters, to turn my doo-doo into the fruits of love and knowledge and inspiration and transcendence and illumination and transfiguration and abundance of love, and abundance of peace for myself, so that I can be that for you. You inspire me. You see? Because I'm here on this camera making these little food videos, and more was being pulled out, and more something that was much larger than myself said, I'm going to need more from you. You can do so much more for my people because you've been through so much. You can help them get sober. You can tell people you can get sober. You can get sober off food. You can get sober off porn. You can get sober off drugs. You can get sober off heroin. Most of my friends died, but you can get sober. Not most of them, like half of them. In a room, cold, pale, right there. And that's one that a lot of people don't get out of that one. A lot of people don't get out of that one. Cocaine and stuff like that, and the weed and the drinking. The alcoholics it's pretty rough. But you can rebuild yourself with raw foods after you've been so stoned and drunk, avoiding the work that needs to be done. But it is so fulfilling. But it is constantly challenging. And every once in a while, you'll get a little nugget of like some kind of breath. And you'll be like, oh, this is worth it. There's so much hope there. There's been so much growth and so much change inside. And it makes the work worth it. Because in the end, there really is one goal in this life. You know, and like the raw food thing, that's where I started. That's why I share that foundation. I'm 100% raw. That's awesome. Not a lot of people can hold that down, because what happens is you get purified. Your mind wakes up. You see your weaknesses and you have to move through them. You have to change. You have to change your unconscious. You have to change your conscious. Your unconscious says, eat macaroni and cheese until you're full and you're in a coma, because then you can escape. You can't do drugs anymore. You can't drink anymore. So what do you do on Sunday at church? That's right. They don't smoke cigarettes because that's against the religion. They don't drink the drugs and all that. But guess what they do? They have the big old cakes and the ham and the everything. And you go to church and you have these potlucks. And it's like, what is their drug of choice? Food, baby. So when you start doing the raw food thing, you're looking at your drug of choice. See what I'm saying? That's the last one to go. That's the last physical drug, because what's interesting is you have to eat. You don't have to smoke, you don't have to drink alcohol, you don't have to do any of that, but you do eventually, at some point, need to eat. Usually a lot less than most people think. You know, I know that for a truth. I am pretty skinny right now, but I'm strong. I go to yoga every day. I can ride my bike. I can hike through the desert. The body's working real well. I'm not really into the whole buffness. I'm going more for that clarity, contentment, and peace, that illumination of the heart. It's more of an electricity. So I use foods as electrical sources of conductivity through mineralization, the sugars and the waters that are in those foods. But a lot of people just need to transition to raw slowly so that they can move into much more clarity. So anyways, that's okay. So I'm just about to wrap this up. You know, I might have, what I figured out, and I'm so glad that we had a chance to talk. I feel so good to be able to share with you just some stuff, whatever. I didn't know. It just came through. And hopefully you are uplifted. You know, I have been so blessed to be here, to do this video show, to be on YouTube, and to, you know, it's just so wonderful to channel like love. That's what I'm here to do. Channel love, uplift humanity. And in any way that I can. You know, it's only going to be you that's going to connect with me, and there's going to be other people that clicked off in the first 2 minutes. Oh, he's just advertising stuff. He doesn't care, whatever. But you are still here, and so you are and I are here for each other. You know, and if there's anything I can do for you, I'm going to try to do that to the best of my ability. So a couple more minutes left. It's a 30-minute camera. Again, I found that out. There's no timer though, so I'll be using my phone. So check out the link down below, and if you want to get transitioning to raw. And then, you know, for me, that was the foundation: mastering the raw foods, getting the body clean, getting the mind clear, getting the blood clear, getting it balanced, getting this raw food thing balanced, you know. And so I like this approach that I take, and I find that my friend Tavis and my friend Lou, who are the other most successful raw foodists that I know, they are also on a much more balanced program. We don't do any fat is bad kind of thinking, or this food is better than others. We use all of the bounty of nature. And so I use all of the bounty of nature in transitioning to raw, so that, you know, we can honor the balance, the seasons, the cycles, and so that you have a repertoire, you know, of foods to go back to and recipes to utilize, so that you can stay on this course. If you are interested in the raw foods, many people are saying, Dan, you're more than raw foods, Mr. McDonald, and that's probably true. But right now, I love the raw foods. I love the juice, I love the smoothies, I love the gourmet, I love the weight loss, I love the detox, and I love the spiritual aspects. I love raw food. So that'll be my platform to connect with you for probably a few years to come, for many more practical reasons. But I look forward to going more into depth into the illumination of the heart and the clarity and purity of the mind. And so blessings be with you. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. It means the world. thumbs up is awesome. Beautiful, loving comments sent this way is awesome. And I love you right back.